Hello there, people of the internet. Looks like we have some weather coming in, so I'm not sure how long this video is going to be. But whenever I make videos talking about the accuracy of particular rifles, I'm noticing a theme in the comments down below. Normally there will be two different groups of people in those comments. There will be people in the comments who tell me that I'm completely wrong and the accuracy on their model of rifle can put, a dime-sized hole at 1,000 yards. And then there will be the people who say, well, although it's not quite as accurate as a precision rifle, the accuracy is good enough for the jobs that the rifle was intended for. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the accuracies of some of these rifles. So I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb here and say for the most part, the accuracy of a rifle is going to be better than what most people can actually do. Now, if you're an expert marksman and you can, plant dime-sized holes at 1,000 yards, then by all means, then this maybe this video won't necessarily pertain to you. But with me not being that great of a shot, especially out at long distances, I like to blame my eyesight, but the reality is I'm just not that great of a shooter. There's a lot of other people out there who are simply not that great at shooting firearms. I mean, I can hit a man-sized silhouette at about 100 yards, and anything beyond that, I simply can't see. That's just my limitations with my eyesight. But the comments down below in some of these videos, they talk about the capabilities of the rifle and how 3 MOA is absolutely plenty to handle most of the situations that people are looking to handle, whether or not you're using your rifle for a practical purpose or if you're using rifle for defensive purpose or hunting or ranch rifle or whatever it is that you're using. Most of your, budget, average, made common rifles are going to be around 3 MOA or so. There are some reputable manufacturers out there that do regularly produce budget rifles that can, perceive 1 MOA or even better. However, as a general rule, most of the mass-produced budget options are going to be around 308 or 3 MOA. As you, spend more money, of course, you will get more money, or you would get more value with that rifle, and a lot of times that pertains to better accuracy. However, that only matters if the person shooting the rifle actually manages to utilize that accuracy. I know I've had, well, here's an example. I just so happen to have this out here. The Ruger Mini 14, this is a pre-580 series, and I've had plenty of people tell me about how inaccurate these rifles are, and I'll be like, oh, this rifle right here with 55 grain projectiles at 100 yards is probably about 3 MOA. I have managed to squeeze better than that if I'm using good quality ammunition. I know I was using some actual brass case 223 Remington through this rifle at one point, and I managed to squeeze out like 2.5 MOA at that point, but that might have been a fluke or luck or whatever the hell. But even then, that's still not great accuracy. However, that's phenomenal accuracy for somebody like me, simply because, iron sights, 100 yards, can't see, blind, and I'm not that great of a shot anyway. I tend to wobble around and shake and flinch, and I got all sorts of little things that stop me from being a someone who can shoot precisely. That's the word I'm looking for, I guess. But even though I'm not that great of a shot, I am still a better shot than a vast majority of people, and I can regularly get about 3 MOA, even if my rifle is a 1 MOA rifle. For example, I got a Russian rifle, a Russian 308, right? And I have seen my friends shoot that rifle extremely well. I've seen sub-MOA groups out of that rifle on a normal occurrence whenever my friends shoot it. However, whenever I shoot it, I'll get a group probably about that big at 100 yards, and that's just the name of the game. That's how I am as a shooter, and I am trying to get better, and practice makes perfect. That's one of the reasons why I consistently make these videos, so I can consistently get practice in and consistently get better at shooting. Although a lot of times whenever I'm out here firing my rifles, people will talk about like how I kind of jerk the gun around and my trigger squeeze isn't that great, and all sorts of stuff that diminishes accuracy. And I'll just start mag dumping into the car instead of working on my accuracy. But the mainstream bottom line is, although some of these rifles that I'm using can be extremely accurate, Well, they can be extremely accurate, but others can be not quite as accurate as others. But I don't necessarily notice that simply because of my capabilities as a shooter. The rifle, although not necessarily a precision rifle, the rifle is dramatically more accurate than my capabilities as a shooter, and that is the case for a dramatic amount of people out there. So whenever I have I've seen several people on several occasions go out. As a matter of fact, I might make this a topic for another direct video, but I've seen them go out and get themselves like a high-end sub-MOA guaranteed rifle, and they shoot it, and they got 6-inch groups, and they're like, this rifle's a piece of garbage, and then somebody else will shoot it, and they get themselves a group like that out at 100 yards, and they're like, nah, man, you're flinching and trigger control and whatnot. And we always, well, not we always, but one of the best ways that you can go ahead and test your flinch, or have somebody test your flinch, is give you a rifle and you don't know if it's loaded or not, or you think it's loaded. Like, I've done this a couple of times with my friends. I'm like, here, let me load this rifle for you. And I'll be like, all right, it's loaded, ready to go. And whenever they pull that trigger and it goes click, they go like this and they see how much they move that rifle. And I'm like, that's why you're inaccurate. That's why you're getting your 6 MOA groups. And I mean, I do the same thing out here shooting some of these old school milsurp rifles. They got metal butt plates and huge amounts of recoil, and it's just, you know, uncomfortable. And whenever I'm shooting at 40 yards, I don't really care if I flinch. I'm not necessarily practicing my fundamentals, although I definitely should be, since I'm not all that accurate of a shot to begin with. But I'll save that for whenever I'm, you know, not talking about nonsense on a YouTube video. But yes, the odds of your rifle, even if it's not a precision rifle, the odds of your rifle being more accurate than you are actually dramatically high. And even then, with them being more accurate than you are, you'll find that your capabilities as a shooter, you know, maybe you're a 6 MOA shooter with a 1 MOA rifle, or a 3 MOA rifle, or whatever situation it is that you find yourself with, you'll find that your 6 MOA group tends to be good enough to be able to handle most of your situations, you know, if you're hunting or defense or practicality or rancher or whatever it is that you're doing. And as you shoot more and more and more, you'll find that your groups slowly tighten up as you pay attention to your fundamentals of fire to try and get as tight of a group as possible. But I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb here. Hold on. Let me go ahead and send a couple of rounds downrange with my Mini 14 here. This is 223 toll ammo, 55 grain projectiles. They should be traveling at about, well, advertised about 3,200 feet per second, but I would guess more around 3,000 if I had to place money on it. Of course, I can't say for sure. I do not have a chronograph out here to test that. Nice, light recoiling, 223 ammunition. Can't go wrong with something like this. But I mean, my steel silhouette down there is like 1.5 feet by 1 foot. So at 40 yards, even if this is a 3 MOA rifle and I'm shooting offhand, which is going to give me probably about a 6 MOA group, especially with how fast I was shooting this rifle, I still hit my target, so I still got my point across. Now, this is a little rant in itself. Whenever I talk about these old school milsurp rifles, I'll bring up the fact that a lot of these mass-produced rifles, you know, on average are going to be about 3 MOA rifles. In this case, this is a Turkish Mauser. I have not accuracy tested this one. This is one that I actually just recently got. And I'm playing with it, shooting it downrange. I've already shot some corrosive ammo through it, so hey, why not, you know, go ahead and use it some more and shoot some more ammunition through it. But whenever I talk about these old school milsurps and on average how they were about 3 MOA rifles, I'll have people talk about how, you know, 3 MOA is plenty, especially with volume of fire. You got all these dudes with these rifles sending lead downrange. You know, 3 MOA is absolutely plenty. But then I'll have people go into the comments down below and they'll tell me, you know, that's nonsense. I have 100 Mausers in my collection and every single one of them is a sub-MOA rifle. Or they'll talk about the 1903 and how it's an absolute tack driver. And I don't doubt that at all. I bet that there's some accurate milsurp rifles out there that are extremely capable. But I feel like a lot of that has to do with ammunition type as well. Like if you get yourself some good quality 30-06 and put it through a 1903, I got no doubts that that thing's a tack driver, even at, you know, 1,000 yards. I bet that thing is outlandishly capable. But the military surplus ammunition that that were being used through those rifles, for this case, I got Turkish Mauser, some Turkish ammunition. This stuff right here, I'm very doubtful is sub-MOA ammunition. As a matter of fact, I know for a fact that the Turkish stuff tends to be a little on the inaccurate side. There's more accurate ammo out there than others. The accuracy of the rifle is not directly dependent on the rifle itself. A lot of it really does have to do with the type of ammunition that you use. Like, for example, the Toll ammo that I just shot, I have some Toll ammo that is 7.62 by 54 rimmed. And whenever I fire that out of my Mosin Nagant 9130, I get roughly a 6 MOA group whenever I'm actually trying to be accurate out at 100 yards. I've made videos on this. You can go back and watch some of those videos. But I get about 6 MOA with that steel case, cheap Toll ammo stuff. But then if I run like some PPU brass through my Mosin, the same exact Mosin, you know, 7.62 by 54 rimmed, if I run some PPU brass, I'll get, you know, 1.5 inch group at 100 yards. And that is a true testament to just how much the ammunition of your choice can impact your accuracy. In the case of this Turkish rifle with this Turkish ammo, I have no idea how accurate this would be. I should test that. As a matter of fact, I have 2 Turkish rifles. I might test that down the road. But I do know that, this is one screaming powerhouse of a rifle, to the point to where what I was about to say, I can't remember. I'll be honest, I have no idea what it was I was about to say. So I'm just going to go ahead and set another round down range. Looks like that one fired a little bit high. This rifle is zeroed out for 100 yards. So I'm going to aim at the bottom of the target. I was aiming at the center. Oh, there we go. We smacked that target that time. This is actually a really nice Turkish Mauser. Very smooth action. That one looked a little too low. Okay. Turkish Mauser, 7.62, or not 7.62, 7.92 by 57. Powerhouse of a cartridge. 323 diameter projectiles. Those are nickel plated. 155 grain projectiles traveling at about 3,000 feet per second. And I imagine that this rifle with that ammunition is probably more accurate than I am with this rifle with that ammunition. So the capabilities definitely depend on the shooter. So even though I myself am capable at some decent accuracy, that's, you know, bench rested with, you know, something supporting the rifle or me leaning on something. If I'm out here offhand shooting like this, there's no way in hell I'm going to get any kind of real legitimate precision accuracy, especially not accuracy that would be able to match the accuracy of the rifle itself. Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate that, pal. Anyway, folks, my battery on this camera's dying, so I guess I've got to go pack it in. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. Description below has a link to all sorts of stuff. Go check that out. I'm going to go ahead and grab my rifles here. Ow, that hurt. And I will see you guys on the next episode. Since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. Poor man's Garrett. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.